You play a very important role in advancing education in Indonesia. Your experience here with your skill and your experience here equip you with skills, knowledge, and networks that can inspire progress and overcome barriers. I encourage each of you to contribute in your respective field, educators, researchers, entrepreneurs on official or official in government and private sector. Share your expertise and inspire future generation to pursue education as a means to transform lives. Together, let us ensure that education becomes the key to unlocking Indonesia's brighter future. May your anniversary in UK pave the way for progress and prosperity in our homeland. Allow me to conclude with an Indonesian pantun, and I have to say it in Bahasa. If I say it in English, it doesn't really work. Teruslah giat menimba ilmu, walau jalan terasa berliku. Jangan pernah merasa jemu, hasil indah menanti diri. Hati-hati di jalan saat bersama kekasih. Sekian, terima kasih.
Thank you so much, Mr. Desa, for that very, very warm opening speech. And what a good reminder of how important education is and how important all of us standing here to find as much knowledge as possible for Indonesia. The next one is an opening speech from the president of PPI UK. Give it up for Kadian Mahita.
Good afternoon, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So it's an honor for me to stand here. Also an artistic moment for me because this is the first time PPI UK held an in-person event. So I'm standing here today as the president of PPI UK for the period 2024 to 2025. And for those of you who haven't had the chance to meet with me yet, I'm Prita, and I'm currently pursuing my Master of Science in the University of Warwick for Marketing and Strategy program. First and foremost, welcome to our first in-person event. I am delightful to see so many faces here. I highly appreciate the presence of Ibu Prita Kemal Gani, Irfan Sarhindi, Lorenzo Gabriano as our speakers, His Excellency Pak Desra Percaya as the Indonesian Ambassador for the UK, Ireland, and the IMO, and also our beloved partners, PPI London, UCL Indosok, Satyavara Bhinneka University, and MBBI. Especially for UCL Indosok, who already provide some refreshments also. And also my reliable teammates in PPI UK, and all the participants who have spent their time and make way to attend this event today in UCL. Now I'm going to talk about two things. First about PPI UK in brief, and second about my field about inclusive education. So this year, PPI UK will continue to focus delivering services and support related to academic, physical and mental health, career development, and the last about Indonesian art and culture. Triggered by the intention to embrace collective learning and foster contributions for Indonesia from Indonesians, so we're going to continue ISIC and also re-establish Indonesian Scholars Forum, or ISF, that will be later be explained by Diaza, the head of academic and research development. as we point out to academic, we have about 17 staff in the academic and research department. And also, some of improvements that we were going to make this year, there are three. First, we're going to open WhatsApp Business with the initial menu of educational consultation. The second is about health and mental services and also disability support. And second, we're going to open our TikTok account. Because that's where Generation Z is. And we're going to be where the growth is. And then the last, we're going to have a special path of sustainability in career development. Because we're going to partner with social innovation students from a university in London. And that's all about PPI UK in this current period. I'm going to move next about inclusive education in my view, because I was born in a family where my mom is a breadwinner and my younger brother is diagnosed with ADHD. He's born in 1996, the time where the latest treatment for people in needs of inclusive education is psychologists and psychiatrists. There's no such things about shadow teacher, behavioral therapy, or even inclusive education. It's hard for me to be the siblings of my brother. And also, it's way harder for him to be a person that needs a special arrangement regarding pursuing this education. And even for my parents. So we fought a lot, we argue a lot. I notice he's different. I don't know where will he change. Of course he can, but I don't know how long what will it take. So seeing you guys coming here, seeing Kak Dorothy invited us about inclusive education, sparks the sense of optimism in myself about better inclusivity in Indonesia regarding the educational institute. So I hope all of you here will gain the knowledge, will be obtaining new perspective about inclusivity, and will be the ones who is promoting and giving concern about practicing inclusivity in our daily life. So that's all for me. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Kaita, for sharing that wonderful story. It's a good reminder that this topic is not only for SEN people, but it's also for everyone, and it can relate to everyone. And Kaita already gave a little bit of a spoiler about what's going to happen next, but the next one will be an introduction of ISF from the head of academic research and development, Kadiaza.
Okay, good afternoon, dear distinguished guests and all the participants. A bit about myself, my name is Gabriano. I'm a medical doctor. I'm currently reading cancer biology in the Faculty of Medicine of Imperial College while doing my research in the high energy physics group in the Department of Physics. So as the associations of Indonesian students in the UK, we always strive to contribute to people in a way that matters. Indonesian Scholars Forum Indonesian Scholars Forums was born out of necessity for students to have a space where they can discuss and collaborate unrestrained by geography and institutions to evade creating the mishaps of creating their own little bubbles and being oblivious to other areas. Sorry. And as we like to say that the students and the youth are our own future leaders. But instead of focusing on their own project and research, our approach is guided by specific issues and current challenges. Therefore, we would like and prefer to accentuate collaboration between disciplines in order to address those challenges. Accordingly, we are launching the 8 clusters of Indonesian Scholars Forum with subjects spanning the spectrum of all natural and social sciences, which we hope these can serve all the affairs of Indonesian students and all the public parties that are interested. Future forums, online or offline seminars, workshops, and many other activities will be held on cluster by cluster basis, but due to the nature of the multidisciplinary issues that we face, you should expect collaborations between clusters. And on this screen at the moment, there's a QR code for all the participants who are present here that you can scan, which this QR code will take you to our registration form. And behind this form, there will be WhatsApp groups of specific clusters, which are open to public, to anyone interested, provided that they fill out the form. And the last thing that I'd like to say for us to keep in mind today, by the end of this afternoon, if this sort of educational event is something that's right up your alley, I really hope, and please do not hesitate, and please remember to complete the form and wait for future news and updates from us. With that, I warmly welcome you to the ISF community and to the first ISF event within the cluster of education and higher education. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kadieza, for that wonderful information about ISF. Again, if anyone wants to join, please scan the QR code and you can choose whatever cluster that you are interested in. So let's move on to our last opening speech. The last one is from the project leader herself. Let's welcome Kak Serli Saputri.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you today. My name is Serli Saputri, and recently I'm studying comparative education at UCL. So, before coming to UCL, I was working as a mathematics teacher in a well-known schools in Tangerang, which is a big school and a big city. So, one year, there was a student in my class diagnosed with ADHD. And unfortunately, I didn't have the experiences or any knowledge about how to handle this kind of students. And furthermore, our school also didn't give a brief to the teachers about how to handle children with learning disabilities or children with special needs. If you are not working as a teacher or as an educator, think about it. Even as a school with in a big city, a big school, a benefit school, couldn't provide a better quality of education and better access for students with learning disability. How about schools in rural part of Indonesia? So because of that experiences, I learned a lot from my students and also from another teacher training. But today, I hope all of you here also gain a lot of insight about providing more quality of education in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kasheri, for that opening speech. All right, we're so ready to get started. Today's forum features 3 amazing speakers, followed by a Q&A session where everyone in the audience can ask and interact with the speakers. The first one is Lorenzo Gabriano. He is an MSc Psychology conversion student at the University of Exeter. He is also the head of Health and Mental Services for PPI UK, where he advocates for mental health for the Indonesian student community. Previously, he interned as a special education teacher at an inclusive school called Smart Preschool. Lorenzo today will be sharing his insight on inclusive education on a student's perspective. He will tell his experience what an inclusion means for a student and things that we can do to better achieve them. Everyone, let's give a warm welcome to Lorenzo.
So, hi everyone. Good afternoon. So today I will talk to you about inclusive education from a cerebral palsy student perspective, and I will cover some topics. First one, the challenges that I face as a student in normal education in Indonesia, and then I also gonna talk about what inclusion means, also the importance of support system for students with disabilities, and lastly, some of the UK policy that we can implement in Indonesia for better inclusive education. So let me formally introduce myself. My name is Lorenzo Gabriano, and I am currently pursuing master's degree in psychology conversion course. And the reason for that is because of my condition. I have cerebral palsy, or what we call CP. Next. So for those of you that want to know what CP is a condition which affects the ability to move, maintain balance, and posture, as defined by CDC. To know what inclusion really means, first we should understand the challenges that the student face with the disability. So during my education journey, I faced 4 of these things. First one, bullying. I remember vividly, so I was bullied by verbally or physically. So during my sort of primary school, I think, I remember that I was late to the school, and I should run to my class. And then some random strangers just shouted to me and say, "Hey, look, there's a duck running in the middle of the field." I was shocked at that time, but I should continue running because I was late and I should go to my class as soon as possible, right? And then physically, I was smaller compared to my peers. Even until now, actually. So not rare for me to get like physically abused. For example, they pushed me into the wall and I hurt my head, and it's so painful, guys. And then, or they just mocking me because I walk differently from you guys, like a normal person. And then from that experience, I have low self-esteem. I lost my confidence. I started to questioning about why they treat me differently. As I grew older, I'm starting to have the feeling of what if feeling. So I'm starting to questioning even more, what if I born normal, in a normal way? Do I able to play badminton more often, or like play badminton better, play table tennis better? We don't know. But yes, guys, I really like sports. I really like to play table tennis and badminton. And to make it even worse, the social stigma in Indonesia, they tend to be negative. They see us as a weak individual that incompetent to do like basic things. Yeah, and that's my experience. Next, because of these challenges that I face, I'm standing here in front of you guys to advocate more inclusivity within the education of Indonesia, in Indonesia. But I want to ask you guys something. In your opinion, what makes us feel included? Do anyone that brave enough to put their hands up and say that opinion to me? Yeah.
We are treated equally.
Treated equally, yeah. But anyone else? Yeah.
Respected.
Respected. Okay. Thank you so much for the great answer, guys. But in my opinion, next, what make us feel included is because of the support system. Next. I was lucky that I have a supportive family that always encourage me to do better every time. They teach me, for example, my father teach me how to play table tennis so I can have added value and compete with my friends. Supportive parents is important, guys, because I have instance where during my internship in the inclusive school in Indonesia, I met this boy, age 8. He weighed around 32 kilos at the time, but he also have cerebral palsy, same as me, but with more severe condition. And I got a chance to talk with their parents. So his condition is his parents should carry him everywhere, anywhere he go, because he couldn't walk. And I asked his parents this question: why you didn't want to give him a wheelchair and to be able to walk, right? And the answer is quite surprising to me. The answer was, yeah, if we provide him with a wheelchair, he will develop a laziness to not be able to walk, learn to walk normally. And I just, okay, and stop there. And then what I want to emphasize here is that supportive parents is so important, so crucial for people like me, people with disabilities, to be able for me to reach full potential that they have. And I also lucky that I have supportive friends and supportive teacher as well throughout my education journey. So all these three things is important to reach an inclusion education. Next. Next, I will tell you about factors that hinder Indonesia in achieving good inclusive education. As Mr. Destra said before, there are so many challenges, but I think there is two major challenges. First one is cultural. Next. Okay, like I said before, according to my experience, Indonesia have negative perception of population and negative stigma as well. Same as they see me as a weak individual and incompetent individual. And in comparison to the UK, from what I feel and what I heard, is more welcoming, more accepting and embracing differences. And the population as well, they have like positive perception. And as I said before again, bullying culture in Indonesia is so prominent. Whereas if you compare it to here, it's less than Indonesia, I think, from what I felt. Okay, next. Second one is inequality problem that exists in Indonesia. According to World Bank data of 2021, there is only 13% of qualified teacher to teach student in inclusive school, whereas there is 28,700 schools, inclusive schools in Indonesia. So the inequality is so big. Meanwhile, the demand for inclusive school education is increasing every year. So this is what we should tackle as individual as well. Next. And then I think UK policy that we can implement in Indonesia is ILP. ILP stands for Individual Learning Plan. For me myself, I got ILP because I had cerebral palsy. They give me extra 15 minutes for every 1 hour exams. So it helped me a lot, not because they want to treat me differently, but they know if I'm being supported, that means I can reach full potential. I also had friends, his visual impairment, and he got an ILP as well. He got a personal assistance to accompany him from uni, accommodation, and vice versa. They also got him personal note takers. They also got him Braille exams technique, like exams keyboard for people with this visual impairment. And I think this is a good thing because, yeah, again, it's support. What we need is support from the institution to reach our full potential. Next, I want to close this presentation with these phrases. Disability is not a limitation. It's a unique strength that when supported and celebrated, has the power to inspire and achieve greatness. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Thank you so much, Lorenzo, for that very unique and wonderful presentation. I think from his presentation, we can learn the very important part of support, whether that be from parents, friends, teachers, or even the government. But I guess for the takeaway, maybe all of us can be that supportive person, a person with special needs and disability, to your friend, maybe to your classmates, to someone that you see. And I hope that we can take that away from his presentation. And our next speaker is Mr. Irfan Sarhindi. He's a Doctor of Philosophy student at the University of Oxford Department of Education, and he is also an exhibitioner at Oxford Center for Islamic Studies. Before, he holds an MA in Philosophy of Education at UCL and was honored with the prestigious UK Alumni Award for Social Impact. Beyond academia, he serves as the director of the Center for Interfaith and Multicultural Studies and the head of quality assurance at Satya Tera Bhinneka University. Today, Mr. Sarhindi will discuss socio-cultural beliefs and stigma in society, shedding light on how these elements can sometimes affect the implementation of inclusive education. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sarhindi.
Yang saya hormati, saya Desa, Bu Prita, dan Lorenzo, Bu Doroti juga. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Waalaikumsalam. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan untuk kita semua. So, thank you for inviting me today for this special occasion, the Indonesian Scholar Forum for Education Cluster. And I was very moved with what Lorenzo has said about his experience. Very brave. Can we give applause for him? And I think I would like to start by making a confession that I'm not really an expert in the issue of disabilities, although I have several experience in working on inclusive education and inclusive society, but it's more of in relation to religious education and religious inclusivism. So I think I will start by by saying that a few months ago, the center that I lead, which called Center for Interfaith and Multicultural Studies, has conducted a series of seminars inviting 5 speakers who work on the issue of disabilities, where one of them is also a person with disabilities. And I think what follow in my presentation will be an elaboration of what I have learned from the session. And specifically in relation to socio-cultural belief and stigma that society might have over disabled people that could hinder I think I like the word that used by Pak Desra, the equitable access for them to reach, to get the quality or inclusive education. And I would like to start by, when we talk about socio-cultural stigma over disabled people, I think first and foremost, we talk about how society tend to still think, maybe some people in society tend to still think that disability is a disgrace. Maybe sometimes they link it with the idea that when you have disabilities, it might be because God punished you because of your sin or your family sin in the past. So they tend to perceive disabled people as something or someone broken, which need to be repaired based on their standard of normal people, so to say. And this kind of mindset or stigma imply in several situations, and I would like to highlight 3 of them. First is how it make family which hold the stigma feel some kind of feel ashamed or feel embarrassed by having family member with disabilities. And for the person with disabilities, I think it echo with what Lorenzo had said. They might feel insecure, unconfident, or maybe feel less human, like the what if feeling that Lorenzo has told us about that. And this also will, the society will tend to see people with disabilities as someone to be pitied. But I think one of our speakers said that the last thing that people with disabilities wanted is to be pitied. So because when society pitied them, it tends to strengthen and validate the feeling of insecurity that they are broken, that they are less human, which who need to be, like to be fixed with our exclusive mindset of fixing someone. This is the first stigma that I have noticed from this session. The second one is, I think it's also reflect what Lorenzo had said, disability is also perceived to be equal to incompetence. And this, I think, related to two contexts. First is how people with disabilities are perceived as unable or less able to do things right. And then secondly, people with disabilities also perceived as difficult to teach. So the first aspect related to competence and their opportunity to get decent jobs. The second one related to education, and this how some schools refuse to have students with disabilities. And one of our speakers actually founded a Walk for Autism community, and her experience based on her struggle, years of struggle of ensuring her autism children to get proper education, because her children moved from one school to another school because she refused rejection, she refused misunderstanding from teachers, and because the teachers perceive autistic student as difficult to teach. And when we talk about this kind of stigma, this implies two situations. First is lack of limited opportunity for people with disabilities to get decent jobs. And I think it's also create the worst situation as well, because when people with disabilities are perceived as less competent, and then because this lack of competence, they cannot get the decent jobs, then it will create poverty and it will create marginalization. It will strengthen the socio-cultural stigma of disabled people, and we cannot escape that. And second one is, the second one is the assumption that disabled people only or should be schooled only in special school. There is no place for disabled people in, so to say, mainstream or normal or common school, because the stigma that they have, because the people with disabilities are difficult to teach, therefore they should be schooled at special school. This is the two situations that I learned from also from the education, and I elaborate further from that. And I think I would like to share also one of the best practice conducted or still doing by DPhil. DPhil is an organization, I think, based in Jakarta, where they try to bridge the company and their need and their qualification standard with the disabled people who need to get a decent jobs. So they try to navigate and to map what the need of the company and tries to provide a sufficient training course in order to empower the disabled people with certain skills that are needed by the company. So it increased the employability of people with disabilities, and it's a good, it's a best practice that I think we need to enrich that kind of practice, because I think we cannot rely on the government to solve this issue because it's very big, it's too complicated, too complex. Even the challenges that Padesra has already addressed beforehand. And lastly, I think we tend to also perceive disabilities as invisible. And what I mean by that is like, we know there are people with disabilities, but we tend to ignore them. I don't know. maybe unintentionally or intentionally or without our realization, we tend to ignore them, and we tend to ignore their need. We lack recognition, we lack empathy for them. And I think I would like to highlight one of the implications. We normalize less inclusive facilities or exclusive facilities. When we see, for instance, public transportation, like here in the UK, when you see the buses, they are designed to also accommodate people with wheelchair, right? But when we go to Indonesia, I think I haven't seen the buses which are designed to also accommodate people with wheelchair, and we think it's normal. We don't problematize it. We think it's something that already been there, it's nothing to be fixed. And although we also notice that when the buses are not designed to also accommodate people with wheelchair, it reduces the opportunity for those who cannot commute without wheelchair to have the same experience as us to reach a fulfilling life. And secondly, I think when we talk about disabled people, we tend to over-focus on how to educate the disabled people. We forgot to educate ourselves. While I think the one of the problem, I think, is rely on us, the able people or non-disabled people. I think the experience Lorenzo has said about he being mocked as duck running through the field is also show or reflect how society lack understanding and awareness of disabled people and their needs and their needs. So yeah, this is the implication. And I would like to ask you to see the wider implication here when we have society that lack understanding and awareness of people with disabilities, and they are becoming a leader in political, economic, or social, or even religious dimensions. And we tend to see the policy being made which will be not really relevant to accommodate people with disabilities. And or we can also see how the education system or educational institutions are not designed to also accommodate people with disabilities, or how the education is sensible and supportive toward how to provide an extra support system for students with disabilities to fulfill their potentials. And lastly, infrastructure. When we have those in power, those in policy making, who has this responsibility on developing infrastructure, and they don't have really proper understanding of inclusive society, then inclusive infrastructure might be not seen as strategic and priority. Okay, then to conclude, I would like to highlight three things that I think need to be strengthened if we want to talk about increasing the equitable access to inclusive education. First is, I'm the proponent of integrating rather than segregating. So I think by encouraging school to be more inclusive, it will be more beneficial both for disabled student and for non-disabled student, because it could also educate both sides of student, and it will help eradicate the socio-cultural stigma that non-disabled people have over disabled people. Secondly, we need also more inclusive representation, like in educational material. So students with disabilities will feel that their being are recognized, they are visible there. And for students without disabilities, they will realize that disabled students are also part of them, part of the society, which need perhaps different needs, but still part of the society. I think when we talk about inclusive representation, we also talk about how, I think 20 or 30 years ago, the educational material is dominated by Budi and Ani. So we forgot our friends in East Indonesia, because we only think that if we talk about Indonesia, it's only Ani and Budi. That's the situation. Okay. Lastly, intervention to ensure equity. Disabilities need extra support, need support system. So I think affirmation, endeavor, and special support are also needed to ensure equal opportunities and start. I think it's similar to beasiswa afirmasi, if you want to say that, even though it's not mainly related to disabilities, but beasiswa afirmasi is also I think conducted based on the idea that some people might have lack quality because of their lack access to quality education. Therefore, the standard need to be reduced in order to help them get quality education in Indonesia or overseas. I think that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pa Irfan, for that enlightening presentation. Quite the thought thing. And I think it helped us question and be more aware of some of the stigma that exists in society, especially in Indonesia, and remind us that sometimes maybe society is the one that is disabling the disabled people by not giving them accommodation, by not giving them accessibility. Okay, let's move on to our final speaker. Last but definitely not least, we have Dr. Prita Kemal Gani. She is the founder and director of LSPR, London School of Public Relations, which has slowly become one of the most renowned communication college in Indonesia. Beyond her professional accomplishment, Dr. Prita is also deeply committed to societal cause. She is the founder of London School Beyond Academy. This academy focuses on raising awareness about special education needs such as autism and promoting inclusivity for children with special needs. They also offer programs that help sharpen their skills and help them be more independent. Today, Dr. Prita will share her insight on the equality and access to quality education for all children, giving a glimpse of what is currently the reality of inclusive education and sharing some of the work that she's done to better achieve them. Let's give it up for Dr. Prita.
Thank you. A very good afternoon to all of you and the Honorable Ambassador Desra, my very good friend, humble ambassador. I think you are all here very lucky, as Pak Desra is always pay attention and always give his love for the students. Yeah. So I've been here and I'm studying here also as well long time ago. Yeah, 40 years ago. So I'm not young anymore. Yeah, but I don't have a privilege like you all to have a dear ambassador like Pak Desra. So give a big applause for Pak Desra. Mbak Ita, and also for Ibu Dorothy. Thank you for having me, and for Mas Irfan and for Lorenzo, and of course for everyone here. So I'm very happy to be here, and I would like to share with you, listening to what we had earlier, Lorenzo and Mas Irfan. So if we are all enjoying a global prosperity, so we also have to think those people who don't have the opportunity. Let's say we are all together eating in a very nice restaurant, and with a good food and good friend, and we're so hungry on that times, and the food is also very delicious. Then we saw someone in the window and looking through the food that we ate, that what we are eating, and have the desire but don't have a chance to taste the food. What do you feel? Of course, the food will taste different from before you seeing a person that showing you with a good food. So the same thing, you are all here are very lucky to be able to study in the country like UK. There are many Indonesian, they don't have chance like you. They don't have chance because they not just only don't have money or in terms of the financial, but also they don't have chance because they are unable to study overseas because they are not able to study like you all here. Yeah. So like Pak Desra earlier was mentioned from his late mother, education is very important and is powerful. many young people, I also meet my students, especially the Gen Z, the 18, 19 years old. And when we ask, what do you want to be? I want to be famous. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be rich. Because there's so many things. It looks so easy in Instagram, in internet, and in digital marketings. Everything looks so easy. And seems that many people, they don't even go to school, they become rich. But it's only 1 in a million that we really have to go to school. We really have to learn at the school, and also learn everything from life, and learn from our friends. And then, of course, there's like Irfan and Lorenzo is mentioned earlier, there's a hinder in education in Indonesia, because, as like Pak Desa was saying, that Indonesia is a very big country. It is impossible to have equal educations, where there's not many teachers want to teach in the rural area. And then, although actually there are many teachers, but the teacher have no proper training in teaching, and especially for a student with special needs. Of course, with the technology currently, and also and promoting the equality. There is, when we talk about people with special need, children with special need, I'm a mother of a daughter, a 21 years old girl with autism. She's diagnosed with the severe autism when she was 2.5 years. Me and my husband, we brought her everywhere, just want to hear from a doctor or psychiatrist or psychologist to say to us that actually she's not autistic. But at the year, but when she was 4 years, then we brought her to Australia in Perth, and they be able to diagnose her, confirm that she's severe autism. What is autism? Because people with autism, you don't see that they are disabled because they can do anything. They just normal like us. But if you having someone with autism, I mean, like my daughter on that time when she's still severe with autism, we give her a teapot and a cup and a teacup. We ask her what she can do with this. She just play with the teacup, put it top and open it, close it again, just that. She doesn't know that a teacup, a teapot is to pour water to a teacup. She doesn't know how it works. So this is how autism's spectrums thinks. And this must be break. This has to be trained. And it will happen, And then now she's already 21 years old, and she already able to pass all these obstacles. And this is my daughter. She's 21 years old. Autistic children, although they be able to recover of this obstacle, but they still have the characteristics. First, people with autism, they have problem with light. That's why when we are talk to each other, so they are not intend to look to the eyes, because the eyes is just like hundred of or ton of light, so it's make them afraid of that. And they're very sensitive with the sound, even people eating cake in a plate, and the fork is touch the plate, it sounds so painful to them. So we cannot understand this kind of thing. And also they intend to have to like to be alone. That's why autism is coming from alone, But this kind of thing, we have to break this. We are not allowed these people to become savior and to be on their own. So like Lorenzo said, we need a lot of support. Yeah. So this is the children with autism and with a special need, and what kind of special need that here. And here in Indonesia, we have some school, we have sekolah luar biasa, yeah, but now we have so many school with children with special need of inclusive school. But the problem, the government asks the school to be inclusive, but the school did not prepare a teacher with special need. Like Pak Irfan was saying, the teacher should also equip themselves with what is autism spectrum or special need. And the children with autism, they, as I said earlier, they like to pay to be alone and to like, and sometimes they like to have something that is different. When they sit, they like to rock or something like that. Yeah. So sometimes make people uncomfortable if you sitting with someone and next to you and doing like that. Yeah. And here in LSPR, we have the London School Beyond Academy. The purpose of having London School Beyond Academy, why the name is Beyond Academy? Because the teaching method is not just teaching and learning as normally, because this beyond an academy. Number one is because for me as a parent, there's no school for parents with children with autism. So where we learn from other parents who already have children with autism, but they already growing up and already successful, that we can learn. So that's why we have to have a school. And many children in Indonesia, once they finish high school, they cannot enjoy like you all can study in the university. Because in the university, there's no pseudo teacher. They are not allowed. So meaning that they only stay at home. Kan kasihan, yeah. They're already 21 years old, even 30 years old. Never ever teach how to study in higher education. So we formed this school, and in one classroom is only 4 students with 1 teacher and 1 therapist. So this is a luxury education, you know. So, but this is a part that we try to help adult with autism. And before we receive this children or student with autism, we have 2-year training the staff, the lecturers, and the student to understand student with autism. So the campus can be a friendly autism campus. And this is very important, the mainstream student to also understand a student with autism. Because if you later already work and you already become professional, you will work with so many people with so many characters. If you are able to handle people with the autism spectrums, of course, you will also handle with people with a difficult characters. Yeah. So this is mostly the children or adult with autism. They don't go to school. They are just stay at home. So that's why we formed this school, London School Beyond Academy. Shirley. Bisa terus lagi Shirley. Ya. Oke, kita masuk lagi ya. As like Pak Irfan was saying earlier, it's not easy to teach adult with autism. And in our school, in London School Beyond Academy, we have students from 18 years old to 38 years old. So if you meet them, So at the end of the class, they are allowed to go home. So when they enter the classroom, they have to open their shoes and they have to bring their sandal because it's for the hygiene. And then when they want to go home, they have to look where is their sandal. They have a problems. So you understand. So that's why they don't have the ability like Lorenzo's going on the flight from Jakarta to London on your own. They have to be with someone, yeah, a caretaker. So the lecturer should also able to have an understanding how to teach this adult with autism. Not enough only being patient, but you have to have a skill and being trained for this. Okay. Okay. Bisa tolong Shirley, Nadia. Okay. So the Inland School of Beyond Academy, we allow them to also to have sport, exercise is very important for their coordinations and the way they think and the motoric. Sometimes, they want to say something, but they act differently. Or sometimes they are overthinking. So in LSPR, as the impact that we have adult with autism, by the way, in this center, we have 120 adult with autism. And honestly, there are thousands of people queuing to enter this school. Ibu Dorothy came to visit our school. So because these people who is already supposed to be graduate, they can't graduate. They can't even go home on their own. Yeah? So if the government can have more center like us, it will help also. So they look just the same like us. There's nothing disabled here. And we teach them photography. But these people with autism, they might be good on something. We teach them photography. They can make a very good photo. And they also have visiting and camping, and they also have performance. Yeah, they want to be happy like you too. And this is they integrate with the
London School Beyond Academy, or LSBA, is a vocational training institution based in Jakarta and Bali. Led by the LSPR Institute of Communication Business, LSBA supports young people with special needs by providing them with opportunities to learn and develop skills appropriate to their abilities. LSBA is dedicated to providing equal education opportunities. It recruits experienced educators in various fields to ensure that the skills taught are current and relevant. The Academy currently focuses on 4 main areas: culinary arts, craft, office administration, and printing techniques, including screen printing and digital skills. To promote a conducive learning environment, LSBA offers classes with a maximum capacity of 9 students per class. This ensures personalized attention, recognizing each student as unique and special. LSBA students develop skills and independence through activities such as field trips, summer camps, and musical theater performances. The program of study lasts for 6 semesters, or approximately 3 years, and ends with an annual graduation ceremony. To further prepare students for work, LSBA offers an additional 2-semester Career Center program. Students also learn the basics of entrepreneurship by receiving and fulfilling orders and producing items ready for sale. LSBA also operates Kios Sahabat, a digital grocery kiosk. This initiative helps students develop fine motor skills and social skills. Daily activities include exercise, sharing acts of kindness, and social interactions that promote a supportive community environment. LSBA partners with parents prepare competent, confident individuals ready to navigate the world independently.
Okay, and we LSPR and LSPA, we've done a research with this is financed by area. We work together with Nozomi Nozono. We've done the research about the autism people in ASEAN, Indonesia, and the other 9 countries, and also Japan. What is the difference and what is the gap, and what is the good thing? So we have published the result of the research. So there are 3 books that actually you can access through digital. Yeah, ada e-booksnya, and this book actually tell that actually in Indonesia the treatment for autism is also not nggak kalah lah ya. It's also better because the acceptance of people with autism in Indonesia is also better. In Japan, when you have children with autism, at the age of 7 years, they really have to go into the special place. They cannot live with their parents, especially with severe autism. And in Indonesia, we're still taking care, even though we cannot send them to school. And the love of the parents, the love of the community, friends, and siblings, and family, is to make the person have something to us. When it's someone with the Japanese style, which is 7 years already in the they call it a group home, the attachment between the son or the daughter to parent is not so close. For a closing, I'm gonna share you a story. I had a friend, is Mr. Yamamoto. He's one of the DPR-nya Jepang. He has a daughter, already 26-year-old, and live in the home group since he's 7 years old. And he cannot communicate because he's severe autism. He cannot communicate to her. So every time he comes, he just become another person. So one time, Mr. Yamamoto saw that someone, a teenagers like her daughter, love TikTok. So show apa namanya itu dance and the TikTok. So he studied and he brought, because in home group you cannot have a handphone. So he gave a handphone to his daughter and then he himself. So he teach his daughter to teach in TikTok. So they do together. And one time, nggak mau. Second time, starting. 4th time. And now he's looking forward for his father to come to dance together. So that is something nice, and the bonding between the father and the daughter, and how supportive parents can also do to their children. I think this is all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Prita, for that wonderful presentation. I think we can learn to be a lot more optimistic about the inclusive education in Indonesia, learning from London School Beyond Academy. There's actually a lot of things that we can do to help the community. And I hope that we can help the other thousands that Dr. Prita mentioned. And now we can begin the Q&A session. The floor is open for questions. So if anyone wants to ask anything, you can just raise your hand and I'll get to your question. And of course, for the online community, I hope that you're all still there. If anyone wants to ask question through Zoom, you can just type up in the chat box and our committee will collect those questions for you. Okay, before I take the question, I will ask the first question and then the audience can ask question. Okay, let's get started. The first question is pretty interesting because I feel like when it comes to inclusive education and inclusion, there are a lot of definitions and there is no one definition of it. So I'd like to hear from all of the speakers, what is inclusive education for you? I think I would start with Lorenzo. You want to start first?
When it comes to inclusive education, I think the definition for me is just everyone is accepted, regardless of their condition, their physical or mental condition, and then it's more than just a word. It's a mindset, a culture that I mentioned to you in the presentation. It's so important for us to include everyone and nurture like inclusivity within the societies.
Thank you, Lorenzo.
Yeah, I think for me, inclusive education is that you have to be included. That's why it's called inclusive. So if you have someone that actually enable to perform or to join you, then you also have to include this person, because in life there are so many people that with various of characters and ability. So number one is inclusive education is included, and also give them a chance to engage and share with them.
I think for me, adding to what Lorenzo and Prita have said, I think inclusive education for me is education which provide necessary support, facilities, system, curriculum, or resources that could support student whatsoever their backgrounds and need. To flourish in their study and to reach their full potential. Because I think inclusivism is not only talk about accommodating people with disabilities, but also how to provide quality education for people with diverse cultural and religious background. Because this is also something, this is still the issue, some of the issue of Indonesian education as well.
Thank you so much for all the speakers. So to conclude a little bit, I think we can agree that the common theme is that inclusion is not just a place where disabled people and mainstream people can be in the same room, but it's more of a feeling, a culture, and also lots of accommodating and helping them not only be there, but also flourish and be their best version of themselves. Thank you for the speaker. And I see that there's some question in the audience. Yeah, can you please introduce yourself and your institution? Yeah, you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Hello, my name is Banu. Currently, I'm studying PhD in business in Southampton. First of all, thank you so much for the panelists for inspiring with the knowledge. So actually, I'm interested with this topic because I have experience. Because my young brother is also with special needs. He has the mental issue. Actually, like first, he entered the special school, but after that we decided to include him in the public schools, because they also special access, right? But the problem is when he started study in the public schools, he got problems because their friends start bullying him, and then also he didn't understand about the class teaching, and then after that he didn't interested anymore with the study, and so he decided to drop out from the school. So we decided to also to give them the homeschooling, but the problem is my question is, how is like the best method for these students, especially to Prita, because like with my experience, like my young brother they don't really have interest like to study like mathematics or some mandatory teaching in Indonesian education system. But yeah, I agree with you, Bu Prita, because these people only interested with the practical. So like he interested with the something like with the computer or maybe something like that. But there is no such as like the appropriate method in this Indonesian school to supplement that. So I want to ask what is the best practice for them to support that their interest, their passion in learning. And secondly, I also agree with the panelists because there is problem with the job equality, because when my young brother want to apply some like PKL like that, there is no one like who want to accept. And then I think like like many companies in Indonesia, like they still they don't trust like these people who work with them. So for me, like because me with family also starting to teach them with okay, maybe you need to prepare with yourself. So basically, because I have also the entrepreneurship education background, so we teach them also about the entrepreneurship. So I also want to ask, what is especially Bu Prita, do you also to teach entrepreneurship with the students to prepare them for the future? So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mas Banu, for that wonderful questions. Bu Prita, would you like to answer?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Can I just get your name, please? Your name? Banu. Banu, how old is your brother now?
Now is 18 years.
18. Okay. Okay. You can Google. There is the first professor in Cambridge with autism. His name is Jason Arden. Yeah. And Jason, he cannot talk. He's a non-verbal autism. He cannot write. He cannot read. But his teacher saw his ability in sport. So every time at the school there is practice on basketball, he always make his class become the winner. Then after all, he make the school become the winners. And then he makes and he even he compete also around Europe and UK. And then how can someone who cannot write, who cannot read, and become professor? He became the professor of sport in Cambridge, and he's the first professor with autism. So you can Google him. So there's a lot of opportunity for people with special needs, as long as we can find something good in that person. Secondly, yes, we teach the student entrepreneurship because it's very difficult for them in reality to work in the company. So we have a program, Parentspreneur. So we pair the parents and the students to have a business. Some of them, they have a batik, batik konveksi, and they have a kiosk sahabat, they have a coffee and a lot of things. So yes, entrepreneurship is one of things that is good for people with autism. Thank you, Bayu, for the question.
Does that answer your question, Mas Ben?
I'm interested about the entrepreneurship. Do they also now they have their own business after graduated from your school?
Yeah, many of them, they have their own business, but must be with parent, because it's very difficult for them in calculating the money and how to create the business. There's one student, he really love perlengkapan bayi. And he obsessed, with the baby trolleys and everything's about babies. And then they opened a shop for babies and it's very successful. Yeah.
All right. Is there anyone else that would like to ask a question? Okay. From this side, yeah, you can introduce yourself and your institution.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for having me. As you may know about my profile, I'm Hanan. I'm her student. Lorenzo experience is similar to my experience as well. The education is the most challenging in the world, especially provided the inclusivity for us. Um, so I want to ask about the integration instead of segregation, especially for Mr. Irfan. I'm in favor with the idea is that we should integrate the inclusivity mindset for both disabled and normal people. Normal people. Normally, if we are studying high school, like SMA. So one of my friends said that their curriculum in high school is equal to junior high school. So it is surprising for us because it's not equality for us. That's why there is an educational gap. What I'm concerning is that the education curriculum, whether it fits for both of them, because it may expose the challenging, for example, in two ways communication. So I'm asking about what will you advise for us to develop the suitable curriculum for both of them, especially for the normal and the disability people, because we want to be more inclusive. And the second question is that what's the most parameter for meeting the disability and ability student requirements? So, for you, I'm sorry, I forgot my introduction. I'm Hanan. I'm studying material science and engineering from Imperial College London. Thank you.
Thank you, Mas Hanan. That's quite the question. Irfan, would you like to answer that?
It's very difficult question. I must be honest, and I'm not sure whether I can answer it properly. But I will try. So I also will allow people here which also want to contribute to the understanding, because I believe that the idea of having discussion is we can co-construct knowledge, not really that we are the more knowledgeable person here. So I think when I'm saying that integration will be more helpful to eradicate socio-cultural stigma, I'm not saying that it will be without challenges. And I'm not also saying that our schools are ready. It's very clear and very visible that most of the mainstream or general school are not ready yet, including some of the issue that you have already mentioned. And one of the thing, so I think providing inclusive education in terms of inclusive school are very costly, because they need to build facilities that also accommodate the needs of the special students. They also need to construct the special curriculum that meet the needs of the students. And in that case, I think I'm interested in the idea of differentiated learning, in a way that a teacher are developing the approach based on the characteristic of the students and their approach to learn things, including not forcing a student to learn something that they don't need, they don't like, and looking for alternative approach to help them increase the curiosity and interest in learning things. So it's not without challenges. So I think in terms of curriculum, I like to say that it needs a lot of work to be done, and also to on the level of policy making. But yes, yeah, in terms of curriculum, I think I like the idea of differentiated learning. I forgot the second question. Was it about?
The second question is that like what parameter should be applied for the curriculum for supporting for between the normal and disability people in order to make it to be more inclusive.
Okay, in terms of like the achievement or the standard of graduation.
Yeah, like provided the in two ways communication was consideration of parameters.
Okay. I think when we talk about disabled student, the curriculum should allow the flexibility of a school to first and foremost diagnose what is the current situation of the student, because I think autism and ADHD or perhaps people with hearing impairment, visual impairment have a lot of different needs, and based on the diagnostic assessment, they could develop what are the best help that we can provide in order to help them experience the equal learning experience at the classroom and outside of the classroom. And this is in fact what we have done, what we are doing in our university, me and Bu Dorothy. So I have as the academic bureau in our the student bureau in our university to map and to navigate how many students have this kind of disabilities and what kind of disabilities that they have, so that the data will help us to navigate what kind of support that we can provide. Without that, I think we cannot help to build the inclusive education. So I think I cannot answer it straightforward because it's very broad aspect of the situation. Thank you.
Does that answer your question, Masana?
Very good.
Okay. Does anyone else in the audience would like to ask some questions? Yes. Please introduce yourself, your name, and your institution.
Okay, hello, speakers. It's very impressive presentation, actually. My name is Zainun. I am from SOAS University, and when we talk about education, we always talk about formal education like SD, SMP, SMA, and we tend to forget traditional education. So I come from pesantren, and Mas Irfan also comes from pesantren. So we have something in common here. And I believe that this issue of disabilities never been addressed in pesantren. I think, when we talk about disabilities, pesantren doesn't even appear in the presentation. Even in Mas Irfan presentation, it's not appearing. Okay. And I was teaching Arabic grammar in pesantren last year, and I had one student with special needs, and I didn't know what to do because I'm not educated in this field. And what I did so far is just to make the standard lower for him. For example, in pesantren, santris are obliged to memorize 1,000 verses of Arabic poems, and every week they have to memorize and recite at least 15 verses. And for him, 2 is enough for us. And what I want to ask is this right to do? Was I doing right enough? And what we need to address these issues in traditional institutions, maybe not just pesantren, but any traditional institutions in Indonesia as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mas Ainun. Mas Irfan, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, I can try, and I think Dorothy will also add something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you, Mas Jaden, for reminding me my root. Yeah, I think it's true that the issue of disabilities are less talk or less discussed in relation to pesantren. And although there are many issues related to disabilities in pesantren as well, but in response to your questions, I think lowering the standard seems to me like a good a good call, because otherwise you might force him to enrich the standard that he might not cannot reach that. So yeah, I think it's a good call. I think Dorothy will add something.
Thank you, Irfan. Hi, everyone. So my name is Dorothy. I'll just stand there. I'm a lecturer here at UCL. I've been teaching for 8 years, and one of my modules is called Children with Disabilities, Experience Politics and the Theory. So just to let you know, because we are touched on this methodology, pedagogy. So in inclusive education, there are 3 types of implementation that you can do. The first one is segregation, when you actually segregate them, because some conditions, they really, really can't be put in the same room with the others, you know. So when we call the multiple disabilities or profound disabilities, so that's when you really have to segregate them. Okay. The second one, what we call integration. Integration is where we integrate students with disability with students with non-disability, but you lower down the standard according to their capability. So they still integrate, but the homework, the assessment might be different. The type of work that you provide is different. Okay. The third one is what we call here in the UK, maybe not in Indonesia, but in the UK, we call it inclusion. Inclusion, you do not lower down the standard, but you give everything that you could do to ensure that the learning experience is the same. So for example, you're saying about memorizing, right? So that's what integration do. So you lower down the standard. But if you are an inclusive school in the UK standard, you provide additional teachers, additional books, additional videos, additional audio. So you do everything that you can do to make sure that they are at the same standard. Again, please remember that disabilities is a huge umbrella. It's like even ADHD, you have a spectrum. So you cannot treat them as the same. Someone who has ADHD with this spectrum and that spectrum might need different support. Okay, so that's what we need to remember. And that's why Irfan said that it's important to have the diagnosis in the beginning, to tell the schools or the university what to do to support the students. So that's what I want to add. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bu Dorothy, for that added insight. Does that answer your question? Yeah? Anyone else? Yep. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Iksan. I'm a PhD student in reproductive genetics under the Institute of Human Resources in UCL. It's very great talk from all of you. It's very inspiring. But as a medical doctor, we know that disability is like Miss Dorothy said, it's an umbrella. And we prefer it for nowadays, it's called a neurodiverse and neurodivergence. Yeah. So we do not call it like a disability as well. And my question is, what could we do in Indonesia, especially in higher level of education like university? I came from University of Indonesia, especially in the Faculty of Medicine, and we know that we don't really acknowledge the neurodivergence person in there. And here at UCL, we can see that every new students that they are given the form at what kind of neurodivergent that they have, what kind of disability there, and they ensure that everyone has the same opportunity and has the same standard to have the learning curve until they are inclusive and until they are capable. So at the stakeholder level in Indonesia, what could we do? Thank you.
That is a very great question, Mas Isan. Does anyone would like to answer that? Bu Prita, maybe? Okay. Go ahead.
I think to achieve that, I also want have a dream to implement the individual learning plan in Indonesia higher education. That's my dream as well. But the question is just do we have the resources? Do we have the money? Do we have the people that able to support every one of them? Because as Prita said, it's or Mr. said, it's so big the spectrum. But I think individual learning plan will help students in that case. Did you ask him?
I think just to add what Lorenzo has said, I think if you want to accelerate the implementation of inclusive education within and across higher education, I think we need to talk about creating leader and leadership with inclusive mindset, and maybe maybe will not happen now, but perhaps 10, 20 years later, with you at the leadership role, at your own context and or your own career. But I think leadership alone cannot solve, cannot accelerate the implementation because implementing inclusivity also need a deliberative process where university structure need to be empowered and educate to gain inclusive mindset. And so we at Universitas Bhinneka we have this inclusive topic as one of our continuous professional development course. So we train our lecturer and our staff twice a year. One of the topic is inclusivity in order to make sure that all resources that we have can gain knowledge and awareness regarding inclusivism and how it should be practiced within and across universities. The second one is we also have a compulsory module in our university for students that called inclusivism and diversity. This the series of seminar that I have told you previously was part of our module. So students also learn about what is inclusivism, how to realize inclusive society in relation to our diverse culture, diverse religion, and diverse abilities that include the people with disabilities or neurodivergent. So I think it's leadership, it's deliberative process where people within and across the university are empowered, and it's a long process. Yes, yeah, thank you.
Okay, does that answer your question? Yes. Does anyone in the audience would like to ask some questions? Yes, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Fifi. I'm currently studying at MA Education Psychology in UCL. First of all, thank you very much for the inspiring session. I have questions for all three of the speakers, if that's okay. The first one is for Mas Lorenzo. I also used to be a special education teacher in an inclusive school. And as a fellow teacher, I'm really curious to know how your experience as a student in an inclusive school influence how you teach and treat your students as a teacher now. And for the second question is for Mas Irfan. My question is, I've also been a teacher in a remote and rural area in Indonesia where proper facilities and technology is not very accessible. How do you think we can address the issue of inclusivity in this context? And the last one is for Ibu Prita. As it has been mentioned that parental involvement and support is so incredibly important. And can you share on how London School Beyond Academic involve parents in the school and maybe any interesting stories to share about that? Thank you very much.
Thank you for that question. Who would like to start first? Lorenzo?
I think I will start with a disclaimer first. I do not obtain any certificates or certificates in teaching. It's just like 1.5 months internships. But what I can share you from that internship is, I think what people with disability or inclusive education needs is teachers that understand there's specific needs. For example, there is one student I teach in my class. He has, I don't know, do I allowed to say this? But I think in the UK policy you don't. But he has MR, mental retardation. So, he quite impulsive. But he is accompanied with specific person to hold his hand or hold his leg as well, so he didn't do something bad actually, and it works. I think it implies that what we need is just one supportive teacher, extra teacher. I mean, to accommodate the needs of the students. That's it for me.
Thank you. Next one.
Okay, what we do in the London School Beyond Academy, as mentioned in the video earlier, so we give them more subjects, more practical or vocational, like sewing, culinary, and craft, and also laundry, some things that will help them to be independent. Yeah, and of course, before we start with teachings, like what Lorenzo said, that is a IPL, or individual learning program, ILP. We will see in this student in which area that will be good at, then we'll teach them into that area, because otherwise it's just like when we put pouring a water in the glass which is full of water, so it will be wasted. So that's why. And my own experience with my daughter is, she's 21 years old and she's non-verbal, but I forgot that actually she's not speaking, because every day I deal with her, and I talk to her. So like Ibu Dorothy said, that we lower our expectation, our emotion, so we be able to have the same frequency. Then we be able to communication. But actually communication, you just need an effort, and of course you also have to be responsible in communication. So I think teaching people with special need, as true Ibu Dorothy said, there has to be in a segregation, but also in a other way also need to mix also with the mainstream student, because they also have to learn. We don't think that only student with special need the mainstream student, but the mainstream student also needs student with special needs. So in a certain subject, we allow student with special need to be in the same class with the mainstream student. And mostly we give them a buddy. So because from 7,000 students, every semester we allow them to apply anyone want to be a volunteer as the buddy of the student with special needs. So around 800 of them, and each semester, we will give them extra academic point for being a volunteer. So if they were angry, sometimes the lecturer says something, but is misinterpreted by the student with special needs, and he can be also aggressive because he doesn't know how to express. And this buddy, as you want to ask me, what is our experience? So this buddy student tell him, don't get angry with the lecture. You just get angry with me. Whatever you can say to me, just text me. So he texted to you, whatever the bad word, everything, just text it. So only me who receive it, and is only in handphone, so not in person. So something like that, that is happening, the environment in LSPR and LSPA. Okay.
Thank you, Prita, for the answer.
Okay. I think in terms of how to implement inclusive education in a remote area where facilities are lacking, I think I would say that good quality of facilities do not always guarantee inclusive education. So I think first and foremost, we need to ensure the understanding and awareness of inclusivism and inclusive education, and realizing the wide spectrum of it. And then we need to force our creativity to optimize what we have in order to provide the optimal support that we can provide for those in need, for disabled students. I was impressed, and still am impressed by the school my daughter is currently in, because the school is not really providing very good like things or tools, but it still encourage and provoke the creativity of students. Sometimes they use like pre-learned things and let the student play, do their creativity, and develop their own exploration of what they want to do. So I think optimizing what we have rather than begging for what we don't have, it will be more beneficial to force our creativity in realizing inclusive education. And lastly, we need also to seek for help. I think there are many NGOs now who have the awareness of inclusive education, and provide grant or support that we can reach out to them in order to empower or strengthen our current condition to implement inclusive education. So I think increased understanding, awareness, and creativity. Start small and seek for help.
Thank you so much for the answer, and as well for our three speakers. I believe, sadly, it is our last question of the day. And before we close it up, I will quickly sum up today's discussion. I feel like we got quite a holistic view on inclusive education in Indonesia, from educators and students and professional. And turns out there are a lot more perspective in here from siblings, from parents, and so many more. And we get to learn a lot about the barriers and challenges that comes with inclusive education, as well as some possible solution. I do hope that today's discussion can spark some type of change, that we can all go home to our country later on and we can implement something and help education in Indonesia be truly inclusive. Again, I want to extend a very sincere thank you for all the speakers for being here, and also for our organizers, supporters, and for Mr. Desa for coming here as well. And of course, lastly, for all of the audience as well, here or online, thank you for participating. A quick reminder for all the audience to fill out the attendance form so we can know who attend and we can know more about your details. And that brings us to the end of today's session. I will quickly give the final remarks to the committee.
Okay, thank you, Ariel. Hello again, everyone.